I heard there was this podcast, yo, about something funny like wrestling and so. And you really care about wrestling, don't you? There are drop kicks and leases all over the board, and then something called a wrestling hold. It's a super duper fun podcast about wrestling. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. Well, Fro and Bill and maybe a guest or two is here to hold your hand and guide you through a podcast about wrestling. We have a lot of extreme fun, and that's without the gun, because I needed something to rhyme fun with. That wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show. Well, sit your behinds gently down and listen to our podcast sound, and try to guess this week's pro question. You win a lot of cool things, and also help Bill with his bills. That's a super duper fun competition. That wrestling show. 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 That wrestling show.
Hello everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters, and welcome to the 4th annual That Wrestling Award Show. Now, I see Fro has dressed up for the occasion. Fro.
Yes, I did. I have a tampon in my mouth.
Oh God. Oh.
And it's full of blood.
So
because that's everything people talk about in wrestling nowadays.
So I take it you were wanting the tuna.
Yes.
Who are you wearing, by the way?
I am wearing Dolce & Gabbana.
Ah. Okay, very good, very good. You look very handsome for tonight's show.
Thank you.
And for those who are curious, I am wearing roadkill deer fur. Yeah, that went over your head. That's okay.
Cricket.
Anyway, this week we are going to have our awards that you, the fans, on our Facebook group have voted upon on all of our categories. We're going to reveal all the winners. Plus, we're going to review Impact Wrestling's homecoming event, and we're going to get into some other news. But Fro, I think we should jump right into the awards and give out some name some winners and give some awards out.
So we're not going to talk about the hottest thing in wrestling at the moment, a bloody tampon?
No.
Okay.
Not at this point. Maybe later.
Because you have heard about it, right?
I've seen the video, unfortunately.
Everybody's talking about it.
So anyway, let's get right into it. Our first award is one of our 2 new categories that popped up this year, and that is the Most Overrated Wrestler Award. I think that's pretty easy to explain. No, don't need to go into that. The nominees are Shinsuke Nakamura, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns. And that wrestling award for the most overrated wrestler goes to Brock Lesnar.
Yay!
By a wide margin.
Oh, Elmo is here to take his prize.
Oh, thank you. I did not know we had Elmo here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hello, Bill. Hello, Fro. Hello, everybody. I'm here to talk to you about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar wants to thank you, his fans, for the overrated prize.
All right. Thank you, Elmo.
Thank you. Thank you, Elmo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now we're going to go into our next category, and this is our other new category. The Feud of the Year, the best feud in all of professional wrestling. The nominees are AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, and Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano.
Ooh.
4 very good feuds. And that wrestling award for the best feud goes to AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. Here to accept the award is Fro.
Oh! On behalf of Samoa Joe, I want to thank his family, his friends, his followers, and Smash.
All right. And we have one more category that we're going to do for this segment. Then we'll get into some news, and that is the They Should Be in the WWE Hall of Fame Award. I think the category is pretty simple, folks. Why are these people not in the Hall of Fame? Well, we're not quite sure, but they should be. The nominees are Demolition, The Midnight Express, Cyndi Lauper, Ivan Koloff, Jim Cornette, Owen Hart, The Rock, Vader, and The Undertaker. And that wrestling award for the They Should Be in the WWE Hall of Fame goes to Owen Hart.
Aww. And here on behalf of the Hart family, we have Bill.
First off, I'd like to thank the fans who voted my son Owen in, even though he is no longer with us. And I'm not here either, so I'm going to let my other son, Brett, accept the award, because I'm Stu Hart, and I've been dead a long time. Well, I've been very bitter over the years, but I'm very glad my brother Owen got this award, and I know he would be in the Hall of Fame just like me, and we had a really good match together, and thank you. All right. So we'll come back a little bit later on to announce some more winners. So, all right, let's just get this over with. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Fro's mentioned it for the last several minutes. If you haven't seen this video by now, I'm very surprised that you haven't. Over the weekend, a video surfaced of, well, I can't say it's an incident because it really wasn't an incident, but let's just say it was a moment. Let's just call it a moment that I'm not really sure we were all prepared for. So the two female wrestlers that were involved were a wrestler by the name of Tuna. I'm not kidding, that is her wrestling name. And Priscilla Kelly. Now, that name may be familiar to some of our listeners for a number of reasons. She is currently in Evolve Wrestling, which is working with WWE, so she's part of the whole WWN Live organization there. And she was a part of the recent Mae Young Classic tournament, where she lost in the first round. Now, I should say, because I did a little bit of investigation, the show that this took place on was a 21 and over show. So basically, nobody under the age of 21 could attend this show. During this match, Priscilla Kelly, boy, these are words I never thought I'd say on a wrestling-related show, went into her trunks, pulled her tampon out, and decided to put the tampon in her opponent's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been the talk of wrestling, or one of the many things that have been talked about in wrestling this week. Where do you want to start on this, Fro?
I really don't know where to start on this. It's so fucking weird. It's disgusting. It's one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen, and if it's a work, I will be so surprised.
You and I, and our listeners know this by now, we have been supporters for a long, long time of women in professional wrestling. We've supported, everything that's been going on, from Impact to Ring of Honor to WWE. We're fans of women's wrestling. We haven't been bandwagoners like a lot of other people. We've been fans of women's wrestling. This took women's wrestling back about 30 years, to be completely honest. Now, Priscilla Kelly is a young lady. She's in her early 20s. So she's not, like a 15-year veteran of professional wrestling. She's young. But I hope she realizes now, instead of later on in her career and in her life, what kind of a mistake she made in doing this. Am I saying that all women should do this? No, I would think a lot of women would not do that. At least I would think. Yeah, it's just disgusting, and I would not ever advise anyone to ever do that kind of thing. So.
Right.
But what can you do? It's done. It has happened. So we just got to move on with
okay.
it. I mean, what else can we say about that? Seriously. Sticking with women's wrestling news, earlier this week, Lisa Marie Verone, some of you might know her as Victoria from WWE or Tara from Impact Wrestling, announced on her Instagram account that this year will be her final year as an in-ring competitor. She wrote on Instagram, "Hey gang, year 2019 will be my last year wrestling in the squared circle. An exciting new adventure is to come, so if you are interested in booking me to wrestle in your promotion, please email booklisanow@gmail.com.
Right.
You know,
Do you mind? I really have to pee. I'll be right back.
you go ahead. I'll talk about this because, you know, we've talked about in the past, or at least I've talked about in the past. With Victoria was briefly, you know, she was one of those who was like Trish. When she started, she wasn't that good, but as she went along, you know, she got better and better, and to the point where she actually was one of the best women's wrestlers on the roster. So, you know, hopefully Tara will end up having a good last year and she'll go out, you know, pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. What other piece of news can we discuss before getting into our next set of awards? Oh, actually, no. And you know what? I do want to talk about this because this came out today. This news came out. If you're going to be in the Phoenix area for Royal Rumble weekend, they're going to have Access take place. During Access, they are going to film a special tournament that's going to take place, and it'll air on the WWE Network. And it is called Worlds Collide. What this is going to be is it is going to be 205 Live, NXT, and NXT UK competing in a single elimination tournament, with the winner of the tournament earning a championship match against the champion of their respective brand. And I have in front of me the 14 of the 15 men that are going to compete in this. And this is a very good roster for all three groups. So, for NXT, representing them will be Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Dominic Dijakovic, Keith Lee, and Otis Dozovic. For NXT UK, it's Mark Andrews, Tyler Bate, Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin, and Zach Gibson. And for 205 Live, it is Cedric Alexander, Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, TJP, and a name to be announced later. So, how this tournament's going to work? The first match is going to be a 15-man battle royal. The person who wins the battle royal will get a bye. Will get a bye into the second round, with the other 14 competitors facing each other in the first round, and it will determine the matches for the first round. So this is going to take place during Access in Phoenix for Royal Rumble weekend. And this is going to end up being filmed and airing on the WWE Network. When it airs, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping it's going to be sometime real soon. It looks really good, Fro. It really does. So, are you ready to hand out more awards?
I am.
All right, let's hand out some more awards. Our next category, and this is a pretty fun category, because this, we talked about the tampon incident earlier, and that could be a nominee for our next category, which is the Hell Has Frozen Over Award. Now, this is for the most shocking moment in wrestling. The nominees are WWE in general, Dixie Carter and TNA shown on WWE programming, Hulk Hogan back on WWE pay-per-view, and Melissa Santos talking about Brian Cage's parts on social media. Come on, that was shocking. Come on.
That was shocking.
That was. And that wrestling award for the Hell Has Frozen Over award goes to Hulk Hogan back on WWE pay-per-view.
Oh, Hulk Hogan is here.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. For the award, brother. Brother. Oh, thank you, Hulk Hogan. Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you, Hulk. Our next category, Best Wrestling Promotion. There were only 2 nominees for this category. The nominees for Best Wrestling Promotion are New Japan Pro Wrestling and NXT. And that wrestling award for the best wrestling promotion goes to... Well, it's a tie. They both win.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. They both win. So, I'll accept the award on behalf of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And thank you for waking up early in the morning on the East Coast and staying up late on the West Coast to watch the product.
Wow.
Would you like to accept the award for NXT?
Oh, I'm so happy. NXT makes me smile. It's NXT award, thank you. How about that?
Very good. All right, one more award for this segment. The Best Commentator. The Best Commentator in Professional Wrestling. The nominees are Corey Graves, Mauro Ranallo, and Renee Young. And that wrestling award for the Best Wrestling Commentator goes to Mauro Ranallo.
Yay! He's so good, so I don't even want to do an impression of him.
Well, I could tell you, he had one response to winning this award. Mamma mia! All right, we'll come back a little bit later. We'll come back a little later on to talk about or give out awards in our next set of categories. Speaking of commentators,
maybe that's him calling.
Maybe he's calling to accept the award. Nope, that's not him. I want to talk about the tribute for Mean Gene Okerlund on Raw this past Monday night, and in particular Hulk Hogan coming back. Initially there was mixed as far as Hogan coming back. But then when they did the actual tribute, it came off really well. It really did. Very nice video package. Hogan was very genuine, I thought. But the one thing that really got me, and this was the thing that made me mad, was the fact that there were people who were coming out and saying, oh, Hogan shouldn't be on here. He shouldn't be doing this for the things that he said and all that bullcrap. First off, what he did and what he said was wrong. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. What he said was wrong. What he did was wrong. However, he came to Raw to pay tribute to someone who he knew for 30 plus years, who he loved, and I'm sure he would say Mean Gene Okerlund was one of the reasons why Hulk Hogan got over. Because honestly, what other commentator, interviewer could have done what Mean Gene did? So, to those who were upset about Hogan being on Raw to do this, go jump off a bridge, get a life.
Yeah.
This was not about Hulk Hogan. This was about Mean Gene Okerlund. And it's a shame that people looked over that. It is. What were you going to say, Fro?
Yeah, no, even me watched this segment. I haven't watched wrestling in whatsoever, but I went over the way to watch this.
And it was a very nicely done tribute. It really was. And I think the main thing is Hogan did not make it about Hogan. He made it about Mean Gene. And that's how it should be, plain and simple. So, just grow up, people. Just grow up. There, I said it. We don't have the star ratings that the Melts was going to give for Wrestle Kingdom or Homecoming, because the issue was going to be released a day later. So what we're going to do is I will post what Meltzer gave the ratings for everything probably tomorrow. So it'll be up by the time you guys are listening to this. So I have no idea what the rating is, what he gave it, but we'll wait and see. Excuse me. Got the burps. Let's talk about an event that's taking place this Saturday. It is NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool. This is their first TakeOver special. We have 5 matches, 3 championships, and a no disqualification match to pretty much highlight the show. Do you want to do the title matches since you're not familiar with the brand?
I do.
Okay, and this is out of respect. You know, we're not disrespecting the other men in their matches. It's just Fro hasn't really watched the product. I've only seen one episode. I'm going to watch this show. I am. But so the first title match that we're going to do is the final match in the NXT UK Tag Team Title Tournament. So this is going to crown the first ever UK Tag Team Champions. It is Mustache Mountain of Tyler Bate and Trent Seven against Zach Gibson and James Drake. I'm going to go with Mustache Mountain on this one. They've been the focal point from the very beginning of a tag team division. Tyler Bate's already been the first United Kingdom champion. Why not make him the first UK tag team champion? Would you agree on that one?
Yeah, I can see that's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. When is this pay-per-view?
This Saturday. So it would be 8 p.m. your time. and it would be 2 p.m. my time. So, okay, 2000 hours. How about that? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Next up, the NXT UK Women's title is on the line. Rhea Ripley defends against Toni Storm. That's going to be a good match.
Yeah, I love Ripley Storm.
That's going to be a really good match. You know, I don't think Toni Storm needs this title. I really don't. I think Rhea Ripley's going to keep the title.
I tend to agree. It's kind of boring to listen to that we agree, but
Yeah.
I agree.
It's true, though.
I agree. Yeah.
It is true. And then our main event for the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Pete Dunne defends the title against Joe Coffey.
I love the name Joe Coffey, so I will go with him.
Okay.
I have no clue who these people are,
right.
but I will go with him since he has such a cool name.
All right. Then for the sake of being different, I will go with Pete Dunne. Just because we do need to be different on at least one of these matches. We really do. Okay. So we're gonna watch the show over the weekend, and we will review this show next week.
We will. I promise you. I promise you. I will watch it.
You ready to hand out more awards?
I am, because I can't wait to talk about this pay-per-view that we watched on Sunday.
All right. Our next award is the best major wrestling show of the year. Basically, folks, any NXT TakeOver special, any pay-per-view, any pay-per-view, basically any event that took place during the calendar year, could have been nominated. We had 4 shows nominated. And the nominees for the best major wrestling show of the year are All In, the 2018 Royal Rumble, Wrestle Kingdom 12, and NXT TakeOver New Orleans. And that wrestling award for the best major wrestling show of the year goes to NXT TakeOver New Orleans.
Good choice. Good choice. New Orleans.
New Orleans, yep. Accepting the award is Grover. Hello, everybody. It is I, Grover. I really don't give a fuck. Oh, okay. Thank you, Grover. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want any trouble. All right. Our next category. The best weekly TV show. Pretty simple to describe there. The nominees are New Japan Pro Wrestling, Monday Night Raw, Impact, NXT, and Ring of Honor Wrestling. And that wrestling award for the best weekly TV show goes to NXT.
Yeah, I voted Impact here, but I totally get NXT.
I voted for New Japan.
Yeah.
All right, we'll accept the award on their behalf. Thank you for watching our product. There. Anything else you want to add to that?
Konnichiwa.
There we go. All right. One more award for this segment. Now, this next category, and I've said this on many occasions, This is my personal favorite category. The match of the year. 2018, I gotta say, Fro, was a pretty good year for wrestling matches. Would you agree on that?
Oh, I totally agree with that.
But we had, out of thousands of matches, 6 matches nominated for the match of the year in professional wrestling. And the nominees for match of the year are Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega, the 2 out of 3 falls match from Dominion. Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano from NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. The North American title ladder match from NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano from NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Kota Ibushi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi from the G1 Climax Finals. And Sami Callihan versus Pentagon Jr. from Slammiversary. Some heavy hitters in this one. And that wrestling award for the match of the year. And I want to say real quick, the winner won by just 1 vote. That's how close it was. The match of the year goes to Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega, 2 out of 3 falls from Dominion 2018.
That is a really, really good match.
That was.
It is.
This was a tough call. It really was. To tell you guys the other, because it came down to 3 matches really. Okada and Omega, the match that won. Ciampa and Gargano from New Orleans, and Callahan and Pentagon Jr. from Slammiversary. And what that showed me, especially with that last match, Fro, there were other people who watched that match besides you and me. So that's a big deal, I think.
I totally agree.
All right, we'll come back a little bit later on with our final 3 awards. Real quick, because I know you want to get into Homecoming, but I gotta bring this up. All Elite Wrestling had their pep rally on Tuesday. Some pretty interesting things that were brought up. Some interesting talent that's going to be there. Besides the Bucks, Cody, Brandy, and Adam Page, who we pretty much already knew. Dr. Britt Baker's going to be in the roster. All 3 members of SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky are going to be on here. Pac, you might know him as Neville. Pac is in All Elite Wrestling. Also, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And folks, if you have not seen him, I'm telling you, this guy is the future of professional wrestling. Mark my words. He is going to be a big name. Also, Joey Janela with Penelope Ford. And the big one, the big signing on this day that was announced, Chris Jericho is in All Elite Wrestling. How do you feel about that, Jericho and All Elite?
I would love you. I would love it. I mean, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm a little tired in my head today. My head is somewhere else. Sorry, listeners.
We're getting there, Fro.
Yes.
I do want to mention real quick. This is going to be the last thing we mention today because I want Fro to be awake.
Yeah, sorry. I am totally out of it today, and it's not Bill's fault. It's just life totally fucked with me today. Suddenly.
The next show that they are going to do, and I did a video about this, but I'm going to tell everyone again, will be Saturday, May the 25th, Las Vegas, Nevada, MGM Grand. It is Double or Nothing. That is the name of the show. So you're going to want to check that out. May 25th, MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. we'll talk more about All Elite next week because there's a lot of news to get to on that one. But we did watch a pay-per-view this past Sunday night. Impact Wrestling Homecoming. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. Beginning to end, well, with the exception of the last two matches, but for the most part...
a really good pay-per-view.
A hell of a pay-per-view.
Yeah. So you're going to start watching Impact now? Please say yes.
Well, I'm going to have to work on recording it, but I think I'm going to have to say welcome back, Impact Wrestling, to the fold. So yeah, let's go through the matches. We'll each give our grades, and we'll talk about what we liked, because I would say 90% of the show we pretty much liked.
Oh, it was really good up to...
Right. and folks, I'm gonna warn you now. I'm gonna warn you now ahead of time. Fro is going to rant.
Fro is not very, very happy about one decision, yes.
No, he is not. And he warned me ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So we are prepared this week. So we get a very nice opening for the pay-per-view, showing everything that happened when they were in Nashville at the Asylum during the early years of Impact Wrestling. And we kick off the pay-per-view with Ultimate X to crown a new X Division champion. Rich Swann, Jake Christ, Ethan Page, and Trey Miguel were the four participants. A good opening match. It was an enjoyable match. Not the best Ultimate X match, but it was an enjoyable match from beginning to end. They really focused a lot, I thought, on all four of the guys, and I thought they did a good job. Nobody really stood out from nobody stood out above anybody else. Rich Swann ended up winning the match and is the new X Division champion. And I think it's safe to say that, he was going to win that match. So, what grade did you give that match?
I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5.
All right. I gave this a B+. I thought it was a pretty good match. That's about a 4-star rating there. Then we go into tag action, women's tag action, as Allie and Su Yung fought Kiera Hogan and everybody's favorite nickname, Thick Mama Pump, Jordan Grace. Fro, why don't you talk about this match?
It was a really good, entertaining match. I thought it was good from bottom to the top. Maybe one of my favorite matches of the night.
This was a good match, and I think it really showed all four women's characters in this match. And I have to say, Kiera Hogan, from the last time I saw her, which was months ago, to that pay-per-view, has improved tremendously since the last time I saw her. And you could tell that she really wanted this match to be a good match. And it ended up being a good match. Not the best match of the night, but it was still a good match. Overall, the end of the match, Allie puts the mandible claw on Kiera Hogan. Allie and Su Yung get the win. Now, after the match is where it gets really good. Because they, Su Young's, what would you say, druids, bridesmaids?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. They came out and they brought out a casket. And they're going to put Kiera in the casket. They open the casket, and all of a sudden, Rosemary pops out of the casket. She has returned to Impact Wrestling, which gets a big pop. She goes after Su Yung. She beats her up. And then she goes into the ring and goes to Allie. And I thought this was such good storytelling. She sees what Allie has become. Rosemary is about to put her hand on Allie's head, and Allie just rolls out of the ring. Very well done. I am invested in that story. I want to see where that goes. As far as the match, I gave it a B-.
B+.
All right.
I really like Allie.
Yeah, this heel Allie is very entertaining.
Oh, so good makeup.
Next match, Eddie Edwards against Moose, Falls Count Anywhere. This was an entertaining match. This really was. I mean, Eddie Edwards has really captured this character of a fighter and a brawler, when really he was a great, and he is a great technical wrestler, but he's really embraced the character of the brawler. And Moose, oh my gosh, has to be one of the most underrated heels right now going today in professional wrestling. He is so good as a heel. I love Moose as a heel. I wish he could be a heel forever.
My only problem with this match was that it started kind of abrupt and we didn't get any ring belling.
Yeah, we never heard the bell ring, but I think because it was Falls Count, I don't know. We were trying to figure that out. Luke was with us for that one. So they go into the crowd, and it's really good. And then we get to the end of the match. Eddie Edwards has the kendo stick, and he's about to beat Moose with it. All of a sudden, here comes Eddie's wife. And if you've been following the product, you know that she has been trying to get Eddie back to being Eddie. The old Eddie Edwards.
And this is so good.
Oh, it's so good. She takes the kendo stick and she starts beating the shit out of Moose. And it's so good. Oh my gosh. So, for you ECW fans, we have our Tommy Dreamer and Beulah for 2019. Eddie Edwards gets the win. Loved this match. Very entertaining. I gave it a B+.
I gave it a B+ too.
Just a great match. That was fun. But we have a fun match, a much more fun match, a little bit later on. Next match, I didn't even know this was on the card. Sami Callihan against Willie Mack. This surprisingly is not the worst match. Looking back at what I gave it.
Definitely not the worst match.
I wasn't really into this match. I guess because the last match was, took a lot out of me. But the last 5 to 7 minutes of this match was good. The last 5-7 minutes were really good. Willie Mack is a very talented wrestler. Sami Callihan, very talented wrestler. I think if we see these two face each other again in the future, maybe I'll be more entertained and, maybe we'll have a better match. Maybe I'm going to be a little unfair on this grade, but I really don't care. I'm giving it a C+.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
No, I give this a B-.
Okay. Like I said, maybe I was a little out of it because of the previous match. Maybe not. I'm not really sure. But like I said, if they do have another match, I would really like to see it. Then we go to Monsters Ball. Eli Drake versus Abyss. Oh, this is another fun match. Oh my goodness. This was fantastic.
This is one of my favorite matches of the night. I really, really enjoy this.
Oh yeah.
So much action, so much. Yeah.
If you have not bought into Eli Drake by this point, number one, there's something wrong with you. And number two, this match proved that Eli could wrestle any type of match and he will be good. This match is a perfect example. I think we got to talk about some of the spots in this match because it's more of the spots than the story in the match. Eli Drake takes a back body drop at one point all the way to the floor, goes through one table, misses a second table. That looked sick. Abyss brought out thumbtacks. Thumbtacks got thrown and it ended up getting into the referee's eye. We're not kidding. It actually happened. And then Eli goes into the thumbtacks and his back is covered with thumbtacks. There must have been at least 20 thumbtacks.
And that spot is so gruesome and so cool at the same time.
Yeah, it really was. Then Eli Drake, towards the end, he got zip wires, which are sort of like, if you're a police officer and you don't have handcuffs, they're sort of like a good substitute. And he tried to tie Abyss's wrists in the zip. Well, it didn't quite work. But, you can't prepare for that. Well, you can't prepare for that stuff. So he comes up with an alternative, and he just starts beating the shit out of Abyss. And he even uses an oar, and the oar breaks over Abyss. And Eli Drake gets the win in a very fun, very entertaining match. Go out of your way to see this one. One of the more entertaining matches. I gave this a B+.
I gave this a B+ as well.
Just a fun match. It really was. And then we had the Tag Team Championship match. LAX defending against Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix. Holy cow, what a match. What a match this was. Oh my, you might have two of the best tag teams in the world right now in those two. And they really showed it. I mean, it was fantastic beginning to end. There's nothing wrong I can say about this match. There really wasn't. It was great all the way around, beginning to end. Just fantastic. It really was. LAX retains the tag team titles, and that's a big deal because if you think about it, Fro, Pentagon and Phoenix are two of the biggest names right now in professional wrestling today. And to get a win over them, that is huge. Really huge. I gave this an A-.
I gave this an A+.
Wow.
I loved this match.
And you know what the sad part is about this match? Is when we get to the end of this year and we talk about the best matches of the year, this one's going to be forgotten. And it's a shame because that was a hell of a match. Hell of a match. Alrighty, folks. Well, get ready for Fro Rant Volume 2 because our next match is the Knockouts Championship match. Tessa Blanchard defending against Taya Valkyrie. Guest referee Gail Kim, and I gotta say, Gail was very easy on the eyes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to go first and then you, or do you want to go first and I'll talk, or how do you want to?
No, you go first.
Okay. So, if you remember the match that they had at Bound for Glory, I thought it was a really good match. This one, not really that good. It just didn't really live up as a sequel. They fight to the outside, and at one point we see a sign, and I kid you not, this was a legitimate sign. It said "Dicks out for Taya." Yep. Tampons and dicks out. Yep, that's what we're talking about this week. They get back in the ring, and really the story is Tessa wants Gail Kim to count faster, but Gail's counting at a normal pace. Tessa's very upset, and eventually Gail is going to cost Tessa the title. She uses Eat Defeat. Taya locks in her finishing move, and Taya Valkyrie is the new Impact Knockouts champion.
Yeah, I fucking love this. It's the best thing I have ever seen. It's no, I fucking hate this. It was so clear. It was so clear from the beginning. I said it before the match started. I said I will hate this if this is happening. And what I said was going to happen happened. I said I will rant about it, and here's my rant. We all knew this was going to happen. This is such a TNA thing to do. It's like it's storytelling outside the storytelling. That's what I hate about it. It's not really that they changed title. It's that we knew that they were going to change title because of the guest referee. It's the shit they do here.
Yeah, you could pretty much tell that Taya was going to win. You really could. And it's a shame because Tessa was a really good champion. I think she's going to get another run at the title down the line, but right now they gotta, let Taya have a turn. I gave this a C.
Yeah, I gave this an F, but that's me.
Right. And then we had the main event for the Impact Wrestling World title, Brian Cage challenging Johnny Impact. And members from the season of Survivor that Johnny was on were in attendance. Oh boy, this was not a good match. I did not enjoy this match. And you see, here's the thing. Every time I watch Brian Cage, I try to get into a Brian Cage match. I just can't. I don't know why. I really don't know. I'm not saying he's a terrible wrestler. I'm not. But I just can't get into a Brian Cage match. And I don't know if there's something wrong with me or if it's not, if it's not working right. I don't know. I just can't get into any of his matches. And I give him a fair chance. This just didn't work out for me. At one point, he does go after the members of Survivor. Then we get a real sloppy pin at the end, and Johnny Impact retains the title. After the match, Taya comes out as they celebrate, both of them winning the championship. And just as we're about to end the pay-per-view, here comes Killer Cross to attack Johnny Impact. And then Taya goes after him to make the save. And Taya gets powerbombed onto about 7 people in the audience. And that's how the pay-per-view ends.
Yeah, it is a really confusing ending and a really poor ending as well.
I gave this match a C.
I gave it a C-.
Alright. But besides the last 2 matches, this was a really good pay-per-view. Now, was it better than Wrestle Kingdom? No, it wasn't.
No.
No. But for what Impact has produced as far as pay-per-views go, this was a really good show. This really was. And I'm going to give them another chance. I really am. I'm not saying that everything has changed. I'm not saying that, it's back to being the greatest thing ever. It takes time. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to take time, folks. It really is. So. All right. Before we get into our final set of awards, I do want to mention again, and I want to plug these guys. Flying V Fights Pro Wrestling. I talked about them last week. I'm going to talk about them again this week. I'm going to talk about them next week and a week after. They have their first wrestling show coming up on Friday, January the 25th at the Silver Spring Black Box in Silver Spring, Maryland. The doors open at 7:30 p.m. The bell time is at 8 p.m. I can tell you guys, as of this recording, 2/3 of the tickets have sold for this event, which is a really good sign that, hey, maybe we're going to get some professional wrestling around here, and especially close to me, because, wrestling can be in very odd places. So they do have one match announced, and I'm going to say this is probably going to be the main event for this show, but it looks like a good match. DJ Z, who's no longer in Impact Wrestling, he will be taking on the champion of the 1%. That is his nickname, Logan Easton LaRoe. That is the first match announced for Flying V Fights Pro Wrestling Fight or Flight. Once again, the date is Friday, January the 25th at the Silver Spring Black Box in Silver Spring, Maryland. Tickets are still available at general admission. It is at fvwrestling.brownpapertickets.com. General admission tickets still available, $20 a seat for that show. I am really looking forward to that. They announced some good talent. Ophidian from Chikara is going to be there. Tim Donst, Hallowicked and Frightmare are going to be a part of it. Very loaded talent. Very good looking show. I'm looking forward to that show. All right, now we're going to get to our final 3 awards. These are the big ones.
Thank heavens for that.
This category is the Tag Team of the Year. Tag Team of the Year. The nominees are the Young Bucks, the Golden Lovers, and the Usos. And that wrestling award for the Tag Team of the Year goes to the Young Bucks.
I'm not surprised at all.
No, I'm not either. We would accept this award, but we're afraid we're going to get super kicked. So, all right. Next category, Woman of the Year. Pretty simple. The Woman of the Year. The nominees are Becky Lynch, Asuka, Taya Valkyrie, Tessa Blanchard, Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane, Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, and Ronda Rousey. And that wrestling award for the Woman of the Year goes to the man, Becky Lynch. Becky would accept this award, but we're afraid that she might beat us both up.
Yes, I'm scared of her.
I recently heard that she is single again.
Ooh.
So, hi, Becky.
Hi.
Hit me up. All right. Now it's time for our final award. The Wrestler of the Year. Wrestler of the Year. This was the most loaded this category's ever been. We had 9 nominees. We had 9 nominees for this category. The nominees for the Wrestler of the Year are AJ Styles, Johnny Gargano, Daniel Bryan, Cody, Kenny Omega, Tommaso Ciampa, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Velveteen Dream. Before we announce the winner, I just want to say that AJ Styles has won this award the previous 2 years in a row. Are we about to have a three-peat? Let's find out. That wrestling award for the Wrestler of the Year by 1 vote goes to Kenny Omega.
Yay!
Beating AJ Styles by 1 vote. Here to accept the award is Kenny Omega himself.
Ooh.
You know, being the best wrestler in the world and playing tons of video games, you really gotta be the best. I'm changing the world one at a time. And I know there are people who don't like me, but I don't care, because I'm Kenny Omega. I'm the best in the world. And until we meet again, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bang! Oh my,
Bang,
oh my
bang,
God.
into the room.
Fro, he literally just shot somebody.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. We're going to get sued. Why don't we get into plugs, and then we'll talk about next week's show. You can follow the show on Twitter at WrestlingShow11. You can join our Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show Fan Group. Just type that in the search bar on Facebook, and you are right there. And if you can't find it, don't worry. It's okay, not the end of the world. Click on the link in the description box, and you are right there. Don't forget to check out the website, thatwrestlingshow.com, and check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Bill's World of Podcasts. Fro, what do you guys have up for another Digital Citizen this week?
Oh, we talk about the most anticipated shows and movies of 2019. Or 16, as I say in the intro.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Way to send us back in time. This weekend is the return of Nostalgia Crew. This week, in this episode, Danielle and I, we're going to talk about nostalgic news, and our theme is going to be magazines that we grew up on, or just magazines in general that no longer exist. So, let's see if you guys remember some of the old magazines that we mentioned. Next week on this program, Fro, I gotta tell you, watching the pep rally, it inspired me to do a very interesting conversation, because we really didn't have anything next week. But we're going to talk about natural wrestling rivalries. We're going to talk about, and we're even going to put it on our Facebook group, we're going to talk about the wrestling rivalries that we feel were made naturally, not by a machine known as wrestling promoters. Plus, we're also going to review NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool and so much more. Everybody have a good, safe rest of the week. And when you're done doing whatever it is you do, probably going to be shoveling snow for some of us here, Come back next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always,
Wrestle on!
wrestle on!